Well, Capricorn, this is your reading for the week of April 27th, or when you hear it and it resonates. And of course, it will not be for every Capricorn, but Capricorn. The first thing that I started seeing as I was beginning to work with your energy and ask for guidance on what's going to be the best for the collective Capricorn energy, what I started seeing was you in what looked like a very shadowy, darkish kind of place. Not a lot of light. And again, that sense of shadows. And then as I look in farther, I see that there are some stairs that are leading up to a place where there is light. And what I'm feeling as I'm as I'm tuning into this energy, Capricorn, is the sense that you have been surrounded by old things, surrounded by old feelings, old memories, shadows of the past, of regrets, of loss, and it feels as though you've maybe kind of been wandering around in that for a while. And even though you see the staircase there, you may not have been willing to take some steps previously to move out of whatever those old previous feelings, situations, memories, whatever they were. But let's just say old things, old beliefs, old ideas, past experiences. And that what I'm seeing is that some of you have already started taking steps up beyond the shadowy place. But your steps have been a little bit slow, a little bit plodding. And part of it is because of that sense of sentimentality that you have towards the past, towards things that you did enjoy, towards qualities of yourself that you enjoyed seeing that you're no longer having mirrored back to you. So there can be this hesitancy to move towards something new if we feel as though what we are leaving are some of the things that represented the best of us. But Capricorn, what you're being told is that was the best of who you were then. And it's grown you. And now you have the opportunity to become the best of who you are now and grow beyond what you were, what you liked. Now, they're also saying this is important for you because as an earth sign, you are a manifester. That tends to be what earth signs do. But it's also really, really important to remember that we want to be looking at our future based on what we would like, not what we have lost. So even if it is something we have lost, don't linger on the having lost it. Allow yourself to linger on finding it again or finding better or finding more. And in terms of the qualities of your character that you perhaps have been unwilling to let go of, what they're asking you to understand, Capricorn, is that you are moving to a higher frequency like everybody else is. So everything that you experienced that you liked, you can have the same again, only on a higher level. What they're asking you to do, thank you, is to now start looking at your life. Can you look at your life from the perspective, from truly, and this is really important, this dropped in before, so let me get it back. Excuse me. It's, can you now deliberately apply the things that you know to be true, or the things you believe to be true metaphysically, and can you deliberately apply that as a working model for what you want? Can you say, this is what I believe to be true about energy, about manifestation, about the power of the mind, about higher consciousness. These are the values I wish to live and experience and express. And now I'm willing to believe that whatever I lived was wonderful or acceptable. And now I'm ready to move into wherever that growing has taken me. It's as though you're at a point now where you're having the opportunity. You can turn around and go back into the basement because that's what it feels like, which also then goes along with some of these beliefs to be foundational, the ones that you're kind of moving away from and moving up up the staircase into the light, you're being asked to understand that your capacity to feel things differently is here. Your capacity to experience yourself differently and to feel things differently, to choose things differently and to build differently it's now what you're growing into understanding about yourself, that you can. So again, it's not better, worse. It's nothing like that. It's now the energy is changing and you can change with it. You don't have to. You can turn around and go back the other way and linger in that. And my suspicion is, okay, so I'm getting some taps here. Anybody can do that. Anybody can turn around and go back. If, however, you're already the kind of person who's looked at these concepts, these mystical, metaphysical concepts, and you in your heart know them to be true, it could be difficult for you to turn around and go back, because your higher conscious mind is going to be calling, hello, Capricorn, over here. And if you don't follow that, then you're going to be challenging the part of you that wants to grow. And that's always a tricky thing, because if we know something and we choose to turn our back on it, in terms of higher consciousness and evolving, then the universe doesn't like a vacuum. So that's the kind of time when things can kind of happen to kind of wake you up and make you go, oh, is this or that? And maybe it is time. So again, it's not a threat. Absolutely no, not a threat. Remember, this is you. This is your higher conscious self. This is your soul, your spirit, who is calling to you. Because your purpose here is to grow and to change and to evolve. And to evolve within the context of no more struggle, to evolve within the context of kindness, of intuition, of higher values. Now, higher values being, again, how do things work energetically? How do you apply that to how you think, the choices that you make, the behaviors that you choose? So as I pull the cards, you've gotten 2 cards for kindness, you've gotten 2 cards for intuition. You've also got the card, change it up and have no opinion. So for me, what I'm going to say is this actually works perfectly with the image that I was getting, because having no opinion, I could look at that and say, okay, at the bottom of the stairs, I'm going to say, I'm not going to have an opinion about how wonderful it was or anything. I'm just going to say it was. And now when I just let it be what it was without re-engaging sentimentality to that, that's the equivalent of having no opinion. And where am I going now? Okay? So again, you're being told change it up, and that goes along for me with the idea that I was given about you starting to really deliberately apply metaphysical principles that you believe to be true and engage in that on a daily basis. Okay? Now, the kindness aspect of things, this might be something, because you've gotten 2 around kindness, it's really, again, this is perfect, because it's about not blaming. It's about not defining things as right or wrong, but just to get curious about them and just allow the quality of kindness, which is really, it's actually a card that's coming up a lot lately for a lot of signs. So let's explore that just very briefly. Kindness, again, if you're going to choose kindness instead of being right, what you might avoid are being domineering, being sarcastic, acting as though you're smarter than or superior to, acting as though you're stronger than, being witty at someone's expense, or being offended. Okay? So as I'm saying this to you now, the kindness aspect, I'm being reminded of something I've spoken about before, and that is the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, R-U-I-Z, the 4 Agreements. And one of the 4 agreements are, never assume, don't take anything personally, always do your best, knowing that your best will change from day to day, and don't trash talk. So again, this for me, the kindness aspect, it's a lot easier to be kind to people when we are not taking things personally. and when we're not making assumptions. And this is where, to me, the intuition card comes in. Again, 2 cards of intuition. One asking you to act as though things are, ask and act as though you're going to get the answers that you want. And also remembering that intuition is a natural expression of us as human beings, that we come in with the ability to do that, obviously with some more tuned in already, like a singing voice. Some need more training than others, but everybody's got, most people, almost everybody has a voice. So in this case, what this is really talking about is remember that this is part of who you are, that this is part of your higher conscious mind, or I should say it will evolve and increase as you are experiencing greater self-awareness, as you're developing an understanding of who you are. You're going to clear the decks in a way where emotionally, psychologically clearing the decks, what it means is you're not in struggle with who you are. And in that space, you're able to be more intuitive, which you are. And you can be, but you got to choose. Okay? Capricorn, I'm going to leave you with that. I like this. I like this very much because, when I talk about swimming around in the shadows or hanging out in the shadows for a while, there's no shame to that and there's no blame to that. We do it for as long as we need that support. It's really only when we're ready to grow that we're willing to let go of those identifications and those past relationships that defined us in a way we want to hang on to. Now, what you're doing is, as you're growing more deeply into your own self-awareness and your own self-appreciation, you're able to develop different kinds of relationships. And that's a big part of what will happen for you, Capricorn. I hope people stayed on for this piece because that was a gem. Okay? I'm going to leave you, my dears. You take care.